Welcome to Tough Crowd, folks. You want to know what's happening in the news? Let's talk about what's not happening in the news. What about Liberia? Wasn't that a big story a couple of weeks ago? All I heard was Liberia, and now you never hear about it. It was a bunch of 10-year-old kids in machetes and eating of that drug and raping and killing each other. What, did they go back to school? Folks, let me tell you something. They need to be reading Madonna's children's book in that place. I'm serious. That thing's really empowering, I hear. Now, once childhood is over, there's no going back. You can't make these kids act normal after that. Unless you have that $5,000 tickets at Neverland Ranch. Did you see that picture in the newspaper of that sonogram and the fetus smiling in the womb? You see that? That's, first of all, what's a kid smiling at in the womb? It's not that funny. I was in the womb myself, folks. Not that funny. The placenta, kind of funny. The uterus, not funny. This was a bad week for the Latinos, let's face it. Hurricane Isabel, right? That came from... Then J-Lo and Ben broke up, and then De La Hoya lost to Sugar Shane Mosley. Oh, believe me, the Mexicans don't take that lightly. I look out the window, I saw their sad faces as they took their TVs off the stoop back into the apartment window. They watch the TV run on the stoop. I'm not kidding. And they don't like when you lose. De La Hoya's going to have to go move somewhere. He can't come back to Mexico. He ruined more Mexicans' night than like a kitchen INS raid. Come on. All right. What else, folks? Playboy today. I was reading that Playboy tried to photograph the girls of Walmart. Everybody knows. I know. So stupid. Everybody knows the hot girls work at Target, right? All right. The girls of Walmart. Playboy's trying to depress. That's kind of depressing. Come on. Some poor heavy-set girl sitting on patio furniture in Walmart. Sitting there in Walmart underwear, wearing gardening gloves, drinking Mountain Dew out of a Xbox cup, plastic. And then they always had those stupid Playboy puns. Those are annoying, you know. They have some girl at appliances laying across a counter with her titties hanging on the gas grill, you know. It's like when this girl invites you over to a barbecue, the pilot light isn't the only thing she'll be turning on. Everybody's always not smiling when I'm doing a monologue, just sneering. Everybody. That's why nobody sits behind me anymore on the couch when I'm doing my monologue, because these sons of bitches can't even sit there like this and give me a plastic smile. So it looks like I'm bombing. You guys have a nice tone for the crowd watching at home. They're like, you guys just sitting there thinking of your awful acts or whatever else is going on.
And I'll sacrifice my feet. My feet was starting to hurt over there.
Oh, well, you can sit down over there. Jesus. I can't see. Oh, my goodness.
God damn!
All right, look.
Y'all trying to get rid of me?
No. Welcome back, by the way. Everyone's happy to see you back.
Why?
Patrice was in L.A. burning the last few bridges in the industry of people that actually...
Awful.
They really did. You showed your contempt for many people. We're going to talk about that in a minute. First, we're going to look at the fall television season. Okay? First up, Whoopi. NBC's
If
Whoopi.
you're going to hang around here, you need to be white.
Girl, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, what else could I be?
Oh, yeah.
Ralphie, she was mocking you in that.
She looks Puerto Rican to me. White Beyonce? I don't think so. Come on.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, it stinks. They always, and that's how they want their black women to be like that, honey child. Whoopi ain't even that. Honey, that ain't even us. That ain't Whoopi.
The white girl was acting like that. What are you
Whoopi was acting like it too. It was like her mother, the mother of that.
But whose fault is that? Whoopi or the director, the network?
White people. Tell white people to do that.
Oh yeah. You think the director was sitting there on the set telling her to minstrel it up?
Yes.
You really think that?
I know.
Wait.
Oh, come
you
on.
said something before. Go ahead.
I mean, she did that even on Hollywood Squares. I'm sure there was no one telling her.
She didn't. She was much. I saw it, but she was more like a mama.
Oh,
like
yeah, she was like Maya Angelou on Hollywood Squares.
Yes, she was.
Listen.
She was more subdued.
We'll go into that in a second. Let me show Louis Guzman's new sitcom. Luis.
He's getting free rent in a building that's held together by rust, graffiti, and whipped lard.
I have a nicer building if you would have given birth to a shortstop like a Dominican woman's supposed to. He'd be playing for the Yankees right now.
Oh, please. He'd be half Puerto Rican. He'd be too lazy to practice.
Oh, no, he did.
The best thing is they shot that in L.A. There's no Dominicans or Puerto Ricans. They're probably sitting there like, I don't know what that is. There's all Mexicans out there.
I thought
it's getting pretty racial TV, you know what I mean?
I thought it was pretty funny.
Of course, because you want to be on that show.
I told him he better stop acting white. He said, this room, George Lopez, Luis Guzman, there's a room for a new Puerto Rican on you.
Exactly. Well, he's going to have his own show, but you call him acting white? Why? Because he's intelligent and well-spoken, for Christ's sakes?
No.
He's like Cervantes. Yeah. Let me take a look at white. Speaking of acting white, what about this, the white trash show?
All right. Got us a little treat. Who could tell me the 3 sweetest words in the English language?
Miller, genuine, draft.
Bacon, double, cheeseburger.
Pamela Anderson mullet.
Wrong. Everyone knows the 3 sweetest words? A girl's gone wild.
Isn't it sad that even on the
what's
one
wrong
show, what's wrong with it? You ever see a black guy with a mullet hanging out with 3 white guys and a mullet?
There's not enough shows explaining white people's silliness. I agree. I love the mullets already.
Silly. I know, but why'd they have to put the black dude in there with the mullet? You really think he's gonna hang out with them?
Well, because somebody's going to complain that there's no black people in the show.
Exactly.
Not
Whole
that
network
show.
could go,
Why do you think me and Keith are on this show?
Oh, you know what?
Actually, that is a good point.
That is a low blow. You know what? That disgusted me. That made me sick.
It should have.
Shut up, stupid. All right. That really hurts, you know? You guys really, you know what? All right, let me get back. I'll do that in a second. Here's a clip from Jake 2.0, also on UPN.
Okay, listen up, everyone. CIA station in Kandahar has been tracking Ivan Benikov, terrorist on our watch list. Now, once we've confirmed Benikov's ID with satellite visuals, U.S. CENTCOM has an unmanned drone standing by to launch a Hellfire missile right at him.
This is so freaking cool.
Do you understand? Even
I know.
the politically correct, even the politically correct on TV, they have to make even the terrorist in Kandahar, Afghanistan, his name Ivan Benikov. Thank God he's a Russian white terrorist, not an Arab. All right, let's look finally. This is the most. Let me just show you something. Eve's new sitcom. Ready? Eve's sitcom. Eve. Damn.
That dress is saying something.
Want me to say it louder?
Oh, excuse me. You all right?
Yeah, I think so. Hold on.
Okay.
No, I think my dress is caught on your pants.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about this part. What kind of self-respecting brother lets somebody bump him like that and doesn't do anything? If somebody stepped on those cheap sneakers of yours, you'd put 2 in the back of his head, stupid.
You can't judge anything. I mean, it's the pilot. It's the first episode of all these garbagey shows. You can't tell from a clip. They're all bad. And I love that they're all gay themed too. There's like 1 million shows this season that are all gay themed. It's like every show on television has to have a gay overtones now. I'm like half expecting Dan Rather to do the news in like ass chaps and a leather hat.
But Greg, are you being a little nice to them because we've had a pilot or 2 that got judged early?
Thank you very much. Mr. Defending bad shows. And first of all,
hey guys, you know,
great art takes time to unfold.
that's true. That is the truth.
Much like my underwear.
That's true. All right. Can commercials solve all your problems? You go find out. We'll be right back. Well, folks, the papers in New York, the Times, about every paper about the white kids attacking the black kid in a biased crime. Here's a quote from Black City Councilman Charles Barron. If this had been some blacks got together and done this to beat down a white person, the mayor would be outraged, the police commissioner, they'd have a lesser value of life when it comes to us. Okay, now let me just finish my thought, and you can talk for the next 20 minutes. This is why the average white working class person calls the media liberal and votes for Bush. If this had been blacks attacking whites, it wouldn't have outraged anyone. It wouldn't have been in the paper, because everybody knows that blacks would racially assault whites probably 1,000 to 1 against the other way around. Nobody wants to say that, but we all know it's true. And it's been that way for 30 years. And all the white liberal people won't admit it, so they sell out the blue-collar white kid street fight so they don't have to call themselves racist and keep their money and privilege intact. Patrice O'Neill?
I saw you reading that, but did you really believe it?
I wrote it.
Do you really believe that?
Yes.
Black people don't do nothing to white people.
What?
Are you out of your mind? We don't touch you. When? We kill each other. We don't do anything to white people. Oh, shut up.
Will you admit?
Killing me.
Go ahead, Ralphie.
Gotta be. Are you out of your mind?
Be careful.
Make your point. Stop trying to
Okay.
Stop just trying to have emotions.
Okay, all right. Four white guys beat up a black kid. Yeah, there's a switch. That happens all the time, player. You try to walk up and down Crenshaw. Walk up and any street over 100.
Also boxing during the Olympics. That happens a lot there too.
That's why we beat. Look,
No, I'm gonna tell you exactly.
Look,
Go ahead.
that's the only time we get a chance to whoop white people is when it's legal in sports.
Don't be silly. It's not 1950.
We never get a
Let me
chance
tell
to
you
touch
something.
white people.
Shut your trap for 1 second. You know what your problem is?
Except in
You're
golf,
so fooled
tennis, and basketball.
by this nonsense, which everybody in the country knows is a lie, including yourself, that you don't look at where economic problems, where you really might have a legitimate case about racism and systemic stuff. You look at the lie that 4 white kids beating up a black kid is not happening in reverse.
Well,
a million
maybe
times
if
a
they
day.
wasn't saying we gonna beat your ass, nigga, we wouldn't say it was racial. It was racial because they say nigga in it when they
Well,
beat us.
come on.
It was racial. It definitely was racial.
Of course,
but
it's Staten Island
every time-
Italian,
when I
but
was in
that's
high-
not what
when I was
we're
in high school, I'd take the subway back from Manhattan to Queens all the time, and I was always by myself. And I'd get jumped literally 20 or 30 times over the course of the years, and it was always black guys and white bitch and white mother that came up a lot.
All
But
he
I,
had
it
to
wasn't
do
just say I was Puerto Rican.
is admit that he's Puerto Rican. If he stopped trying to pretend he was a white dude, he wouldn't get his ass beat.
Really?
But that goes against what you just said, that
Yeah, that's
black guys
strange.
never beat up white. Hey.
They beat him up. Wait a minute.
No, make your case. Don't get emotional.
Wait.
Make your case. Don't
You
get
better hope.
emotional.
Hey, Montana, you better hope Jerry Rice shows up.
Make your case.
I'm gonna make my case. I'm gonna step back a minute. They beat him up for being a Puerto Rican, acting like a white guy. That's why they beat him up.
They were pretty insightful people.
First of all, I never said.
Let me just say one
I never
thing.
said they beat me up. I said that I got jumped. But I slapped those bitches around.
Let me ask you this. Speaking of race, what about the Kobe Bryant thing? That sounds like it's got a little. Your thing on it has a little racial something to it.
The new word is plethysmograph. Everybody should be horrified about it.
Yeah.
It's a machine. If Kobe gets convicted, it's a machine that they're gonna put on his penis to measure what
true.
makes him horny.
It's true. It's true. It's a real machine.
Yes, white people.
It's a
learn.
real machine.
It's a real machine. They're gonna decide whether to take his kids. And I know. Look, an 80-year-old woman turned me on yesterday. How's that gonna be? They shouldn't be able to judge whether I'm a rapist or not.
I agree.
So what turns me on?
What turns
But
me
also-
on is so sick. I can't imagine that being you.
And also, if anyone's wrapping a cuff on my penis, that's going to get me going no matter what.
Exactly. And no matter what they say, if it's dirty, you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna sit there like there's no win lose. It's a lose situation because if he sits there and they
That's
showing him
ridiculous.
titties and he's not reacting, they're gonna go, "Oh, Kobe's a monster. He has no feeling."
Right.
So he's gonna lose.
No, that is a dangerous thing. It's like Clockwork Orange, the movie nobody saw except because I'm 71 years old today.
Oh, and that's also if you're. But that plasmograph, this cuff thing, it's only if you're convicted. So a good way to
Well,
avoid
that's
the cuff.
the fear.
But the best way to
Yes.
avoid getting that thing on is not
But
raping
you have to
someone
admit, that's
in
a
the first
weird thing to decide somebody's taste. Because if you're sitting there, like you said, you got somebody putting a cup on your can, you're sitting there and, they're telling you all kinds of dirty stuff. Anything can set you
I
off.
wonder if we got a machine to measure the horniness in Ralphie's titties.
The journey to economic transcendence begins with a single commercial. Watch these. We'll be right back. Folks, what are the odds that I'm going to get through this without stuttering? Now that I put that thought in my head. Every day the fighting in the Middle East seems to get worse. The turmoil's been going on forever, but as Americans, we want it resolved quickly. Yet, America itself is a conflict that's raged on for 100 years. Now, you're right. That's a perfect example of me rambling, and that wasn't that I missed a word. It's just a nasty, vicious turf war with no end in sight. So tonight, I will attempt to broker a peace between the two biggest natural enemies in the world today, Coke and Pepsi. Gentlemen, it seems to me that you are both in the business of selling brown carbonated sugar water. Why can't you get along?
Colin, my people have been oppressed by this red and white giant for too long. They have never won a Pepsi challenge. They are not the choice of a new generation. And they are not endorsed by Britney Spears. And still, we must live in their shadow, only hoping they will see fit to give us more shelf space.
But we need that shelf space for security.
But you control 47% of the global soda market. They control 23%. How much security do you need, Sergeant?
We're surrounded by new threats every day. Vitamin water, Powerade, Mountain Dew Live Wire, and we still have not recovered from the mid-1980s Jolt invasion.
But think what you could do if you put aside your differences and work together. You could unite the world.
We already united the world in 1971. We put young hippies on a Swiss mountaintop to sing, "I'd like to teach the world to sing." Now, some years later, Pepsi tried to copy us by having Michael Jackson sing, and they set his hair on fire.
That was an accident!
Yes, just like clear Pepsi, which was nothing but old Pepsi.
New Coke was nothing but old Pepsi!
You stole lemon Coke, cherry Coke, and now vanilla Coke!
We are not so vanilla!
Boys, if two soft drink companies can't get along, what hope does the rest of us have? Seriously, now, I want you to show good faith and a belief in something higher than yourselves. I want each of you to recite one of the other slogans and mean it. Sergeant Classic, you say, nothing else is a Pepsi.
Nothing else is a Pepsi.
Okay, Pepsinian, your slogan is, Coke is it. Folks, don't expect too much from the peace process. And be careful when you shake up those bottles. We'll be right back. I can't do it now. Well, as we discussed earlier, the fall TV season is a time when networks unveil new shows they know will be canceled so they can make room for mid-season replacements. Nobody knows more about being canceled than comedians. So tonight, we're going to let them create the perfect vehicle for someone on the panel. You see why I skip lines, young man? I just said young man with no irony. I am an old, all right, I'm on my way out. I'm going to be dead soon other than themselves. Ralphie, what's your sitcom idea for some of you guys here?
I have a sitcom for Patrice O'Neill. Nice. Patrice wanders the Old West fighting crime, a la David Carradine in Kung Fu, but he calls it "What Up, Fool?" Okay? You gonna finish your cornbread? If you can snatch this white bitch's phone number from the palm of my hand. Anyway, actually, I've got an idea. It's for Greg Giraldo. It's called any one of his great sitcoms that he's already pitched to you stupid execs and you bought, but you didn't put on the air. Mullet's okay. Greg Giraldo project about the Comedy Cellar? No. Inside Schwartz okay. Jeff Ross project about inheriting a business? No. Get it together, Hollywood. What's the next story? About a large black man roaming the Old West, solving crime? I'm telling you, it's a hit!
I don't know what he said, but it was great.
It was really indecipherable, and that's coming from me.
You stink.
Ralphie, we're going to cut it.
It's an afternoon show.
We're going to cut it and edit it, but you have to admit, you had no ending for that.
No, I like the ending. To be honest.
All right, who's next?
I told my friend Ralphie May here is staying with me this week, and we're good pals. I knew him when he was still the food critic at High Times magazine. Ralphie, I'm going to pitch you the greatest sitcom ever. You're right, take notes, okay? It's a remake of Gilligan's Island, where you play the island. All right? Now, the island, of course, is totally deserted. You know, like filled with desserts. All right? Give him a break, folks. He performs in the round, okay? But hey, if Ralphie really wants to be a hit, he'll play his strengths. And let's face it, the big trend now is shows with numbers in their title. There's Jake 2.0, there's 10.8, there's 24. Why not Ralphie 478?
Hey, it's funny, folks. He's letting me stay at his place. Laugh it up.
All right. Patrice O'Neill.
Oh, boy, it's a great reality show starring Ralphie called Having Trouble Standing, starring Ralphie May and his co-star, that thing in the front of his sweatpants.
You got some balls to make fat jokes. You had your chance to balls to make fat jokes. You fat bastard. You got some nerve, and you got to finish the damn topic. But you got nerve with that packet of hot dogs in the back of your neck.
It's a hit show that's in the front of your sweatpants.
Shut up.
It comes on Tuesdays before I eat my dinner.
All right, wait.
Is this on the Food Network?
What do you mean?
That got so crazy. It was like a school of krill was swimming by. Now,
It's what whales eat, dummy.
The honest truth is, I didn't know either, but I laughed because I didn't know it was because you know.
What's
Patrice, shut up! Shut up! Greg.
I have a show for Ralphie, Patrice, and Jeff, and they would all basically play themselves.
Okay.
Jeff would be a guy whose only discernible income is the Friars Club roast he does every 2 years, and yet somehow drives a Porsche and owns luxury apartments in New York and L.A. He can afford these things because he's an assassin who runs a side business delivering chicken wings to Ralphie and Patrice. All right. The show would be called Trigger, Wigger, and Patrice.
I'd like to stay, but I have these high-powered executives to drive home. Good night, folks. Take care.